Okay.
Hello and welcome to the Level Cap podcast of suffering. Ooh. Marco and I are both suffering today, and we're ready to inflict it upon you as well.
Or
Right,
otherwise.
There will be no otherwise, only suffering.
Suffering. I'm in agony.
Marco, do you want to tell us about something agonizing?
Well, a lot of things. There is gross economic inequality in the world.
Yep.
But more
Good,
importantly to me personally in this very moment is that I am not feeling in tip-top shape because I have a growth in my ear. I think it's
too much TMI. Marco, stop the suffering. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm also not feeling too great, but not as bad as Marco.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Here you go. You hijack my suffering and then make it your own?
Yeah, actually, I'm suffering way worse than Marco. I mean, he's got this thing, but my thing is way worse. Man, my feet hurt so bad. Yep, let me tell you.
I'm Brad Talton. I'm so tired because I went on a beautiful vacation visiting all sorts of national
I've been hiking
parks.
in Utah for like 4 days straight. Oh, my feet are killing me. It's the worst. The suffering.
Man, nature's beauty causes me to suffer so much. Oh, look at me.
You sound like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge character now.
The ocean. The ocean says yes.
Anyway.
Little did you know, Brad, I'm actually just a Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge character. The Marky you know is not real.
I do not disbelieve that statement.
That's kind of sad. What does that say about me? Oh my god.
It's just little Kribo on the other side taunting me.
Yeah.
For all these years.
You just never knew, man. You just never knew. Like all those
it would
battle
be a shame
guides,
because then you could use all your massive star power.
Yeah, if I was actually just Lil Karibo in like CGI Filipino
like a
disguise.
sock puppet.
Yeah, exactly. That would be really great. Sadly, I am not. Welcome everyone to this very special episode of the Level Cap podcast. It's special because it's episode number 62, and it is the first time we've done episode number 62. So there's that.
Yeah, the suffering episode.
Actually, you know what? The title of this episode is now Suffering. See the sounds of suffering.
Yeah, there's a little bit of suffering for you.
Oh my gosh! In all seriousness,
so Marco, tell me how are you doing today?
Well, suffering. Gotcha. But yeah, I'm doing pretty great actually. Like not physically, but like mentally at least, I'm okay. I'm kind of a bit upset though.
Okay. Great. Tell us about that.
About my wait, what's the noun version of upset?
Upsettedness?
Upception? Okay, whatever. I've been trying to get a play-by-post Mystic Empyrean game going on a server on Discord, and it has not been working out.
That sounds really difficult. I mean, play-by-post is already tough, but
Mystic
for play-by-post, you kind of want to just do it as a forum.
Yes, because we're crazy.
Play for Mystic Empyreans happened before.
Oh man, have you done it?
I haven't personally. I'm not really a big RPG person, which is troubling because I wrote this big RPG. But yeah, so it goes. Anyway, well, I'm quite the opposite of you because I am physically very fine, but emotionally very distressed.
Oh
so
no,
it all
why?
balances out. Between us, we have one person of absolute suffering and one person of perfect fitness.
So if we fusioned and then like met our fingers
and then split
wrong,
apart,
then
I would be totally okay and you would be in terrible shape.
Hey, wait a minute. Why would I be the one who's in terrible shape?
I feel like you're just a magnet for suffering, Marco.
Oh gosh, I do live in the Philippines. But that aside, why are you so emotionally distraught, Brad?
Well, it's this shipping stuff for Argent and Exceed. I expected it would go out like right at the end of February, right after Chinese New Year festival ended. but instead it's taken a long time for them to load it on a boat and actually ship it out to us. So it looks like, people's worst predictions were true, that it was probably going to show up later in April than in late March. And that's kind of disappointing to me, mainly because I was optimistic, and I was like, look, we're going to get it out right after February. We're going to, ship it over. And it's a realistic timeline, but it was not actually within my control. And so now that it hasn't happened, I have to go back and say, like, sorry guys, I was optimistic when I should have been pessimistic and been all doom and gloom.
Suffering.
Yeah, exactly. But you can't really be all doom and gloom when you're running the Kickstarter project. You kind of have to be optimistic anyway. So it's either like you're either optimistic or you just don't say anything. Because you don't want to be like, oh, well, guys, sorry, like, this is the worst. I don't expect anybody to do anything right, and it's going to arrive in April, maybe even June, and or maybe even May, and nobody wants to hear that from the Kickstarter project creator.
Yeah,
that's
very discouraging.
You have to put on a brave face. At the same time, I did make some poor assumptions, given the past track record of our factories. So I probably should have just expected that things were going to take longer.
Oh, man, that's unfortunate. Do you want to talk more about that on the pipeline, I guess?
Yeah, I guess I'll explain a little bit more about all the steps that go into the fulfillment process, and where exactly things have slowed up for us. Yeah.
All right. But before we get into that, Brad, I'd like to ask you, on this fine New Mexico morning, I can finally say it, man. In the previous episode, Alice was here, and I couldn't say New Mexico morning.
Yeah, I listened to your episode.
Oh, I couldn't say New Mexico morning, Brad. I had to say New Cleveland morning. I don't know. I'm so sad.
The Old England morning.
Old England.
A jolly old England morning to you.
Oh, yes.
Or something like that.
Quite. All right. So what have you been doing? What have you been up to? What have you been doing this New Mexico morning?
This morning, not too much. We record pretty early since it's late for you. And,
right.
We're on opposite sides.
Well, what have you been doing prior? What media have you consumed?
I have been watching. What have I been watching? I've been watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure some more. I got through Battle Tendency, or I'm getting through Battle Tendency, the second season.
Okay.
I skipped ahead to watch the third one, Stardust Crusaders, and then I came back to watch the second one. They don't really care too much if you watch them out of order, except for 1 and 3. Kind of, you need to know what's going on, but 2 you can watch between those, and it's fine. Anyway, so I'm watching more JoJo. What else have I done? I've been playing a lot of board games with Ithri. So we've kind of started this 2-player game club where every morning one of us brings a game to work, and we play the game with each other and see what we think of it.
Yeah, last time you guys did Pyramid, right? Pyramid something?
Pyramid Arcade, yeah.
Yeah, Pyramid Arcade.
So this week we played... Let's see if I can remember all the games we played. Tuesday we played Word Domination. Wednesday we played Hardback. Thursday we played... what's the name of the game? Fugitive. Ooh. These are all games that are... So...
are they thematically related?
They're kind of thematically... They're from the same sort of publisher group. Fugitive and Hardback are both by Tim Fowers, who runs Fowers Games. And then Word Domination is by Jeff, who's a friend of his who is not part of Fowers Games, but kind of sells through Tim's online store and shows up at conventions with him. So they're kind of in one publisher group.
Kinda.
It's a little weird. Yeah. It's a little weird because they don't sell to distribution. They only do direct sales. So he's kind of his own distributor. It's but the basics of it is that Tim manages the sales and fulfillment of Jeff's game.
Okay.
So they all come from and supplies some of the artists. It looks like the art styles are very similar in both these games. So they have a similar look, kind of like in the same way that Fabio drew Battle for Paternia. So it kind of looks like a level 99 game, even though it's by a different group.
Oh yeah.
And since we've helped them out with other things. Basically finding the talent to build the game, it looks kind of similar to stuff that we make.
Yeah, I mean,
that sort of situation.
Even the concept for Paternia is kind of level 99 gamesy, so
yeah.
Let's take a video game and make it a board game.
Board game.
Yeah.
Still need to do a MOBA board game.
Oh man, I can't wait to see
time will come eventually.
what your mobile board game would look like.
I don't know. That's why I haven't done it yet.
Disc duelers.
Disc duelers could easily be structured as a MOBA.
Right? It would be kind of cool, and you'd actually have physical lanes.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that I think about it.
Ooh, well, that is literally a video game, though. So,
No. Well, anyway.
All right.
But that's what we've been up to over here. How about yourself, Marco? What media have you been consuming recently?
Okay, do you want me to... Okay, you have a choice, Brad. Welcome to Choose Your Own Marco's part of the segment, okay? I have two choices for you. I could talk about a video game, which is a roguelike dungeon crawler, or I can talk about a manga that I've been reading.
Well, I've got an even better idea. Marco? Why don't we stop and ask the fans? So, you there listening to us at home, if you want to hear about Marco's roguelike game, then
press 1.
Just sit there. And if you want to hear about Marco's manga, then you can stand up and raise your hands and spin around 3 times and then sit back down. And the segment will change based on what you do.
Oh, yeah, because this is all part of our new magical podcast technology.
Yep.
That we developed called the Level 99 cast, the 99 forecast. Right, there you go.
All right, so, but anyway, we will pause. We'll pause for a second, let you make your decision.
All right. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
All right, it looks like you stood up, raised your hands, and spun around 3 times. You ready to hear about Marco's latest manga adventure?
Yay! Welcome to Marco's latest manga adventure. Okay, the manga that I've been reading and I really like so far is called Hanakaku, the Last Girl Standing. So,
Is this one of those battle royale things?
No. Ironically, it's not a battle royale manga. It's not very gory at all. It's actually about a girl named Hanaka, or Ando Hanaka, and she is a petite girl, a small girl, very shy, very demure, I guess. And essentially, she, through some series of events, because she's been bullied, whatever. Basically, she ends up joining the MMA club of her school.
Huh.
It's a mixed martial arts manga about female mixed martial artists, and it's very interesting to me so far because what I thought would be like a manga that involves, just characters like shonen manga, where it's like, oh, it's the main character, and they have this cool superpower that nobody else has, and it makes them the best at the sport, and stuff like that. I mean, it obviously has that kind of element, right? Like, the main character, Ando, she's like, really scared and, like, easily frightened, but it kind of, like, translates into fighting, because when somebody throws a punch at her, she just runs away from it real fast. So it ends up like being that through the years of her being like scared and bullied and something like that, like she's gained some sort of like danger sense. Like that's the superpower part. But like what really makes the manga interesting is that it talks about there's a lot of the manga is actually dedicated towards becoming a better person, becoming a stronger person. What's the meaning of real strength? And with somebody who has power, what does a person who is powerful do? There's a really strong moment in the manga wherein Ando's been training with her teammates for a long while, maybe a few months, and she's seen that a lot of her teammates are actually really strong, like, national level fighters. And the girl who actually ropes her into the MMA club is one of the strongest fighters in the nation, or at least in the prefecture they're in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why she joins, because this girl suddenly shows up when the Ando's getting bullied or something, and she's like, oh, I want to be strong like her, which is why she joins the MMA club.
Okay.
Yeah, so Ando finally realizes that she can't keep running away from her problems, and she decides to become stronger by joining the MMA club. What she doesn't realize though, at first, is that she thinks that strength is about the ability to like fight someone or kick a door down.
Okay, so this is like every shonen manga ever.
Yeah,
Then,
I mean, I guess.
that's not a especially novel plot.
No. I mean, like, I think the point here is that there is at one point another character shows up, and she's also like a national regional fighter or something like that, who uses her ability to like she's actually a decent fighter, but she's also like, I guess, like a popular because she's pretty. So she's a pretty, but she's also a fighter. Basically, she uses her strength to bully people. And at some point, the main character realizes that, strength isn't necessarily your ability to punch people, but your ability to stand up for what you believe in. So I guess it's a typical, like, shonen plot, but, it's mixed in with them actually explaining how the martial arts moves work. So, it's like, this is how you put somebody in an arm bar or an arm lock, and so
I see. It sounds like the traditional shonen manga, but maybe it's been recast for young women instead.
Maybe, maybe
that kind of seems, because most of the the shoujo type comics are very much, like, popularity, be the prettiest, fight evil by moonlight, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They don't what's the word I'm looking for? They don't really focus on like physical confrontation. But in the way that this one does. So
I guess
that might be the twist.
Yeah, I think that's
it's that genre, but now for women.
Yeah, I guess that's it. So yeah, I mean, like, I find it to be very interesting. The art's kind of nice, but really, it's I think you got it in the whole. It's basically a shonen manga, but it's like written as if it were josei, right? Like, yeah. So it's like it's like the setting is for like women or something like that, and I find it to be pretty cool. Maybe I just have a thing for like brawlers. Oh, maybe.
maybe you just like it because it's a brawler manga.
Yeah, maybe. Oh no.
No, Marco. It was a trap all along.
Oh my gosh. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. Maybe I should talk about more of the cool manga that I've been reading. Maybe introduce people to cool manga that isn't just like.
Yeah, we should talk about these more in the future.
Excellent. All right, Brad. I'm sorry that I have to do this to you.
Okay.
But we have to move on to the next segment, and that involves talking about the pipeline.
Okay.
Where we talk about game development stuff, and game development ain't always pretty. Take it away.
Yeah, it's true. At least I know that you won't judge me too harshly on live audio. But our friends at home, you can judge me harshly, and you can leave your comments in the comments, and I'll read them, and I'll be sad, and you'll know that you've made me sad, and then you'll feel vindicated for having to wait an extra month for Argent and for Exceed Season 2. So if that's what you need to do, then go ahead and do it. It's cool.
He can take it.
It's cool. I can take it.
He's a big boy.
Anyway, so pipeline, right? So once your games are finished and produced, then it's time to actually get them over the ocean and to your fulfillment centers. So before all this, you've probably, if you're going to offer super cheap shipping like we did in Argent and Exceed, you have all of these, fulfillment centers lined up. And fulfillment centers are in regions around the world. We have one in Australia. We have one in Europe. We have one in Canada.
China?
We have one in Asia. Yeah, China. And we have one in the USA. This is so that all of our major, like the areas where most people are getting our games from, are able to get them without paying customs fees, and also at a much cheaper rate. For example, it cost me probably $80 or $90 to ship a case of Exceed Season 2 to Australia, but I can ship a pallet of Exceed Season 2 to Australia for like maybe $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, and then ship the individual units out for only $20 or $30. So once you hit a certain scale, about 100 to 200 people, it makes sense to start using these fulfillment centers in each of those different regions.
I see. I think we covered a lot of this in the episode 59, I think, where we talked about fulfillment. And what things did we leave out of that episode? Did we miss anything, or did some things go not according to plan?
So the main thing that that's left out of that is the actual freight forwarding portion of this. So what we do is you don't coordinate this kind of stuff yourself, because it is pretty much somebody's full-time job to make sure that this gets loaded on the boats and where it gets picked up and where it gets warehoused at port and all that kind of stuff. So what we do is we have a freight forwarder, and we give the freight forwarder this big document that's a plan of all the places we're going to ship and what we're going to ship to each place and how many units. The factory then boxes it all up, and the freight forwarder schedules a local delivery agent to pick up the goods, to ship them to the different areas, then to deliver them, put them on boats and deliver them to the different countries. And then in those countries, when the freight arrives, the freight forwarder has another agent that imports it, that does all the customs paperwork, any kind of official documentation that you have to do when you receive freight shipments from overseas, which is actually pretty complex.
Mm-hmm.
So they do all that stuff for you with your power of attorney, and then they will ship the game to whatever its final destination is, be that your warehouse or their warehouse. And in the case of some of our older projects, our freight forwarder would actually take the games into their warehouse, split them into a Canadian shipment and a USA shipment and a shipment for our distribution center, separate from our fulfillment center, and then split those three off and move them around. So they do a lot of stuff. They will basically be able to, you can call them up at any time and say hey, what's the status of all this stuff? And you can get a live status report.
Ooh, that's nice.
So it's pretty nice. At the same time, they are also coordinating with people overseas. So very often you call them up and you're like, hey, what's the status on this thing? And they're like, well, we can let you know tomorrow because it's in China and the people at China aren't at work right now. So, that's part of it. Now, again, I'm not super savvy with all the shipping stuff, as you might have guessed by the way that I've botched some of the shipping in the past. But
don't let them know, don't let them see. Be the good ship you'll always have to be.
Oh dear, where's that from?
Frozen.
Frozen? Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay, keep going.
Wow. Yep. Anyway. Anyway, that's the long and short of it. Is that, things go out, they have to call the ocean liners, bulk of shipment, get it loaded from the factory to the place. In the case of some of these games, we have 2 or 3 factories working together, and they all have to be consolidated together. So, for example, in this case, one of our factories was a little slower than the other, and so it made us delay our boat booking for one day. Stuff like that. It's all just Anyway.
Okay.
So that's where fulfillment is at. Once it gets there, it goes out really quick because we've already got everything uploaded to all the different fulfillment centers, and they are ready to just, throw things out as soon as they are ready. But, the ocean line shipping, it takes a week to load all the containers onto the boat. The boat sails across the ocean for 2 weeks, takes another week to take everything off the boat. Sometimes if you're in, when we ship to the USA, they actually ship to San Francisco or LA. And then they they take it by train from LA up to Chicago, and then they actually import it in Chicago. So it's not considered to technically be in the country until it reaches Chicago for disembarkment.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, it's weird. If it doesn't clear customs, it's not in the country.
Even if it is in the country.
Yeah, even if it's physically in the country, it's not. I don't know. Legally in the country.
Illegal board games. Oh. Welcome to the dark, seedy underbelt of backtrade illegal board games.
Yeah, they were going to build a wall in Mexico, but they should have built it in LA in the bay so that freight ships can't get through. Yeah, it breaks down really fast.
Yeah,
Anyway,
okay.
but yeah,
All
your board
right.
games don't legally enter the country until they get to Chicago. Strangely enough.
Oh my god. So, Brad, I have a question for you that is probably on all of the listeners' minds. Do we have an exact date?
We do not have an exact date yet, and I am working on that. So I thought what I did is he said like oh, our ETD is 3:20, and I was like, okay, cool, like estimated time of delivery is going to be 3:20. Well, that's like next week, so we're on time. But it's and I haven't gotten confirmation yet because time zones and stuff. But it sounds like ETD might have been estimated time of departure instead. So, or expected time of departure. So it might be that we're just getting started on the day when I thought we were getting finished.
Wait a minute.
Anyway,
What did you think ETD stood for?
Expected time of delivery.
Oh, is that what that means?
I don't know what it means. That's why I was so tripped up. But I posted it on the Kickstarter. I was like, oh, it's gonna be here, 3:20, and then they're like, oh yeah, so we'll let you know when we have the final dates. And I'm like, wait, those aren't the final dates? What did you mean when you said ETD? Now I'm worried. I haven't gotten the final word back on that yet, though. So I'm still waiting on their email.
I see.
I'll post a full update. So you'll probably see the full update on the Kickstarter before you listened to this email. So whatever you read on the Kickstarter project is more correct than what you're hearing in this podcast.
Yeah, because in the Kickstarter project...
Sorry to pre-invalidate your podcast, Marco.
No, it's absolutely fine, because this is morning Brad, right? Afternoon Brad is more knowledgeable, learned, mature.
Yeah, evening Brad walks on 3 legs. Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, okay, you Sphinx. Let's move on to our next part of this show, which honestly is one of my favorite parts, and based on what you've said, one of our listeners only basically listens to this part. Welcome to the 99 Questions, where we take your hot-baked questions, compress them into a plasma energy ball, and scream "Kami Kami answers" into your face.
Wow, these just get better and better, Marco. That one was pretty witty.
Yay!
You played some Fighter Z.
Oh man, yes, I am still bad at it.
That's okay. Some things aren't worth being good at.
I guess that's true. All right, Brad, here's my first question from our lovely fans. Is Nostros Callahan a plan to be playable character? I had thoughts of him being opposite to Anath. Or Anath?
Anath. Yeah, so there are no plans currently to make Nostros a playable character in BattleCon.
Ooh, there's that qualifier.
Like he might be in other games in the future, especially if we go to the Eastern Continent in Indies. Like, across the ocean hasn't been explored yet, so there's still something on that other continent, which is where Nostros claims to be from. So we'll eventually find out what's over there and perhaps, see him again.
Ooh.
But no plans for him to be a BattleCon fighter at this point.
I see. I wonder why this person thought he was the opposite of Anath.
I don't know. Maybe. We haven't talked a whole lot about Anath, and we should probably talk about her in a future episode. That she is related to Havoc, who is the basically the god elemental of the world. And
I see.
Yeah. So Nostros being her opposite, maybe as like a force of order or something. That said, he's not meant to be, and those characters like Anath don't really have opposites. There's not really anybody that's a what would you call it, like the avatar of an opposed god, because the gods don't really oppose one another in Indians.
I see. Because I remember correctly, the goddess of life is also the goddess of death, right?
No. They're two different, but there are like six of those kind of gods. I probably shouldn't get too much into cosmology. We're just in the questions segment, and you can listen back to some of the other episodes. You can listen back to the Vana episode for more theology of Indians.
Theology of Indians. We need a textbook called The Theology of Indians, right? And
yeah.
Oh man, that'll be so good. All right, so that's that. Brad, are you ready for my next question? It's a fast one. Well, it's not fast.
I bet your next line is going to be, is there any way we can have access to the art of BCO?
Wait, how? Get out of my head! Are you out?
Go ahead.
All right. Nani? Omae wa mo shinderu. All right. So, is there any way we can have access to the art of BCO? Something like a level 99 Flickr page showing pixel tactics, war, and dev characters? Those arts are fantastic.
So, I do think that we may do a new art book with Dev Remastered.
Ooh.
We do have I think it's an imager or something, or like Instagram or something with all the art. But it was set up years ago by JR, and I don't actually know where it is anymore. So
I think I can
have to
find. Look, anybody listening to this podcast, it's in the description. I think I know where it is, and I think it's an imager gallery.
No.
Also, that messed me up because I've always been pronouncing it as Imgur. Apparently, it's Imager. So
I think it's meant to be Imager, but who knows how these wacky, newfangled tech companies are spelled. Anything that was set up post 2010, who even knows?
Hey, you have no right. You don't even know how to pronounce your own characters' names.
Yeah, but that's different.
How is that any different?
Moving along.
Okay. Also, just in case, I don't think I'm posting all of the arts for BCO necessarily, but art for the games that we own continuously go up on our social media. So go to our Tumblr and go to our Facebook and see those arts there.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff on Tumblr, especially.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, here's the last question, Brad, and I think it is a doozy. Because I don't think I even have to answer this, because the moment I read it, people just know the answer. What are your favorite fighter classes that you like to play the most?
Well, let's see here. So I know Marco's favorite fighter class is going to be Specialist.
What? Okay,
yep.
Look, you say that in jest.
And then
you say that in jest.
I would say that I probably Tacticians play the most. Maybe Tacticians or Specialist, one of those two.
Who's your favorite tactician?
This is BattleCon Online classes.
Who's your favorite tactician?
Favorite tactician? Probably Kimbe, currently.
Uh-oh, she's classified as a brawler.
Uh-oh. I also like Arya. I'm a little upset we don't have Arya in yet.
Right. Oh man, I love Arya. She's cool. And if you don't know what Arya's all about, Arya episode. Guys, come on.
Yeah. But that's just for BCO. What do you play in MMOs? What class do you play?
Oh, that's a nice way to interpret this question. By the way, earlier we were making fun of Specialists. I actually, in BCO, have more games on Specialists than any other class.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I main Riflum and Marmalade. In MMOs, though, is it bad that I always play those, if there's any class that does hand-to-hand fist combat, I pick that.
That seems cool. That's fine.
Brad, I just picked brawlers again. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I play burst mages in MMO.
Oh, really? You play burst mages? How about in MOBAs?
Yeah, still burst mages. Li Ming is my strongest character in Heroes of the Storm. So.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. I play. I'm a mix-up because I like playing support. I always that's usually the role I play.
Support is pretty fun, I have to say.
Yeah. But I guess I tend to pick tanky support, like Diablo.
Yeah.
like, I don't really tank for a long time, but I tank just enough to help my team, and then I die. I think that's my true calling. is
I
is
see.
is to dive into the enemy team, kill one guy, and then die myself. That is how Diablo plays, and that is how it will always work.
Hmm.
All right.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. It's just, how do I explain this? I'm not very good at MOBA games, so if my
Yeah.
character class is you only have to play for like 10 seconds
Well,
and
the
then you
fact
die.
the fact that you said I play support. My main is my best support is Diablo. Kind of cues into that. Yeah. Diablo is what's called a bruiser, who is actually the MOBA analog of a brawler.
Oh no, Brad! No! No! Okay, no, to be fair though, in League of Legends, a lot of supports are actually just like tank supports, like Leona or Rakan or
Uh-huh.
Braum. So these people they play the support role, as in like they take the lane support role. They they babysit the carry, but instead of like babysitting through heals, they babysit by literally putting their body in between the carry and the enemy team. So
Okay. So that's just called tanking. I don't know. That's support. Like,
that's what
it's
they
just
call
tanking.
it, okay? That's what they call it.
Okay, well, I'm not going to say that an entire genre of people are wrong, but that's just tanking. That's just ordinary, everyday tanking.
Well, I guess, but like that's just how League of Legends does it, man. That's what they call the
Okay.
role. Okay,
I guess. A game is weird. I have not played League of Legends yet. I know I'm going to probably get more angry comments for that, for saying that alone.
Oh my gosh,
But
you should.
I played Dota, the original Dota, quite a bit.
Yeah,
And I quit because I didn't like items, and I didn't like last hit mechanics. And
that's why
I
you play
didn't like
Heroes.
and I didn't like that you just like do one-on-one fights for half the game is like 2 hours long. So Heroes fixed all those things for me. So
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I really need to get into Oh man, they just released a new character. What's his name?
I
Fire
don't know.
guy.
I haven't played it as much recently.
Fire boy. I know he's a fire bat.
Oh, the StarCraft Firebat.
Yeah, but like they gave him a name, right?
Yeah, but it's something silly like Blaze. It's
It
like
is.
all
It
the
might
characters
be
that are
Blaze.
not already named characters just have ridiculous names.
Yeah, like I mean Sergeant Hammer and like
Yeah, like the tank is Hammer. The support or the healer, the medic is called like Lieutenant Morales, like Morale.
Oh my gosh!
Right?
Oh,
Like they're all pretty bad.
oh, I think my favorite / the
The
worst
probe is called Probius.
Probius. Exactly.
Yeah.
Probius is such a bad name.
Oh man.
And I still love the fact that Probius is an actual in canon lore character in the StarCraft
He
universe.
is. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that like Samuro is. I think Samuro is lore based, right? He's the like samurai guy.
He's a
His
blade.
name is Samuro.
Yeah, I think he's
the
actually a
Warcraft
character
Blade Master.
in
Wow.
Warcraft 3. He's actually a character. His name is Samuro.
Yeah.
I think that speaks more about how Blizzard decides to name their characters than like, yeah, I think they're just kind of bad sometimes.
I guess it's like, here's a character that we know is not memorable, so we're just gonna make his name what he is, so that you can't forget about him.
Kinda, yeah, exactly.
Maybe in that sense you can justify it.
I guess, but like even then, that's kind of like video game bad overgeneralization, right? Like,
Yeah.
like I don't know. That's like the equivalent of like looking at Uther and going like, "That's Paladin man," right? Like, it's just
Yeah, like they'd be like calling Uther like Paladinus or something.
Exactly. Horrible name. Oh, and I think if I remember correctly, in the lore of StarCraft, Probius is the probe that they show in the opening cutscene, wherein the Zerg are about to invade and kill this one Protoss character. And then a probe comes in and drops a pylon and then summons all of the Protoss army in an instant. That probe is Probius.
I see.
So, I mean, like, that's what Blizzard said, at least. I mean, I'm pretty sure that they didn't actually have a deep backstory for this Probius character, but they were just like, hey, it's Probe. Blizzard's hero choices are weird. Anyway, Brad, this episode of Suffering started out with Suffering, went into MMA and board games, and then went into a really nice conversation about board games and shipping. So it was kind of like a roller coaster, you know. We started low, we got high on the things that we've been doing, and then we went down low again when we started talking about shipping, and then we got high again when we talked about.
It's been a wild ride.
Yeah, it's a wild ride, and I think it's a low point once more.
An emotional roller coaster.
Exactly, because
the podcast.
Oh man, and you know, we even introduced a new piece of podcast technology that reads people's minds. So
yeah.
Honestly, I'm tuckered out, Brad. I think it's time for us to abscond and youth roll out of this podcast.
Okay. Well, we'll just roll on.
All right, you spin me, baby, right round. When you go down, let's end this podcast.
Okay.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Level Cap Podcast. Okay, look. Something's wrong with me.
I don't know.
Something's wrong with me.
The suffering must be taking control.
Suffering. If you like this episode of the podcast, please consider giving us a few comments in the comment section down below. You can ask us any of the questions. You want us to do a specific question, do a specific segment, do a specific character, anything really, just put it in the comment section down below and we'll get there as soon as we can. If you like this podcast, please share it with a friend. If you hate this podcast, what do, Brad?
Share it with an enemy, I suppose.
And excellent. And as usual, it has been me, your host, Marco DeSantos, also known as Mechanic Ricky, and with me has been my suffering partner.
Don't forget your special action.
Brad, that's not your name.
Oh, whoops. Sorry, Brad Talton.
Yes, and as usual, don't forget your special action. And thank you, World of Indians. Thank you, and good night.
Brad Talton.